Hi everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Walking the Talk. My name is Melissa and I'm super excited to record a brand new episode. Today my guest is Romain Kirchhoff. He's the founder and CEO of Uzufly, a Swiss startup. Hello Romain.
Hello, Melissa. Hi, everyone.
So nice to have you here. I'm super excited that we could finally do this. I've been waiting for this for so long. And I'm going to start by saying congratulations because Uzufly just turned one, right? Like a week ago.
Yes, just a week ago, and this was actually a good time to kind of reflect on what happened in the first year. So, thank you also for making that show happen, and I'm looking forward to share a little bit of our story.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I couldn't agree more. This is the perfect moment for this interview. But in order to get started, I have some rapid fire questions for you. And I shouldn't have closed my booklet exactly on the page where they are written down, but I found them. So
All right.
I'm going to start with question number one. Are you a morning or night person?
I'm a not night person, and I'm trying to switch to a morning person. We'll see how that goes.
Good luck with that. Question number two. What is your favorite TV show?
I don't think I have a favorite TV show, but one that I watched recently was Formula One, and I like how you understand and enter new industry, new world, and the characteristic of each person has, the fight they have amongst them. So I like how inclusive of that new industry it is.
Interesting. I haven't heard of it. Question number three. How long does it take you to get ready in the morning?
So when I go boxing, 30 seconds. Otherwise, 30 minutes.
Do you have a pet?
I don't have a pet.
All right. Question number six. If you didn't have to sleep at night, what would you be doing with that extra time?
That's a good question. Because that would mean 8 hours a week. So I would go more to the gym, I would learn a new language, and I would learn how to fly helicopters.
Oh, very interesting choice. How would your friends describe you in 3 words?
Too energetic, curious, and dancer.
Dancer. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Question number 8. If you were a superhero, what would be your superpower?
I guess to fly. Yeah.
Nice, I like that one. And last question, if you could go to space, explore the ocean, or visit 50 different countries, which one would it be and why?
50 different countries. I love learning new cultures, like people, how they think. Every single person has a story to share, and through different countries, you open your mind a lot. So yeah, that would be it.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more to this one. Oh my God, I can't speak English anymore. What's happening today? I could not agree more. Visiting different countries is amazing and you learn so many different things. But
Yes.
these days with COVID, you actually can also learn all kinds of new things by connecting online, which is what we did. We haven't met in person so far. I hope we will change that in the future. But now moving on to Uzufly, would you maybe like to introduce Uzufly and say a few things about yourself and maybe how everything started?
Yeah, sounds good. So I'm gonna start with my background and the evolution of my background to creating Uzufly, and then to explain what we do at Uzufly.
Wonderful.
So I grew up in Geneva, and then in Lausanne. Then I did my bachelor as a civil engineer at EPFL, the Polytechnical School of Lausanne, with 1 year in Hong Kong. And that's when I realized that I didn't want to do that for the long run. I wanted something more like outside of the comfort zone, like more how do you say, not set in stone.
Yeah,
And
something
yeah,
different.
exactly. And I always wanted to kind of create my own company. So I found that master. It's called Management, Technology, and Entrepreneurship. I was like, okay, that's perfect. Let's give it a try. And after that, I did, as part of the master thesis, I worked at a venture capital firm. So a venture capital is an investment fund for startups. So it was amazing. Basically, like on a daily basis, I was meeting entrepreneurs that were pitching their ideas and basically learning how to make successful and scalable business model. And I was working with super smart people, so I've learned a lot. And my thesis was on the drone industry, and that's how I also joined a startup for 2.5 years in London. And it has been a very successful startup. So it was amazing to see like the behind the scene from the investor point of view to then view the entrepreneurship route, all the ups and the downs. And I liked that so much that I said, oh, okay, I want to do also one in Switzerland. So I decided to come back and trying to deliver what we call a photo mesh, um, like to unlock the potential of photo mesh. What brings me to Uzufly. And I think there are two kind of startups. There are the startups that see a problem and fix it, or you have startups, especially coming from universities that have a new technology and they are looking for a market to apply their technology. And that's our position as well. So the technology is called aerial photogrammetry. So it's the idea of taking thousands and thousands of images to recreate a 3D model or a digital twin of an entire city. So it's very similar to Google Earth or Google Maps in 3D. They do it actually using a satellite or planes, and we do it by drone or helicopters. And basically, that provides a much more detailed um, digital twin of the city, like 5 to 10 times more. And that's that digital twin has two clear values. The first one is that it's very photorealistic, and therefore we can visualize it and visualize future projects, like urban project in the most immersive, the most photorealistic way. And the second is that it's very precise, and therefore it can also be used by architects, engineers to have a very good understanding of the actual site conditions so that they can start designing their new projects. And it's also used for cadastral monitoring in Switzerland. So those are the kind of two clear values of our photo mesh or digital twins.
I think that's
Does
super
that?
interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
I think also because I watched your little demo videos that you sent me, and I'm gonna try to insert a screenshot or something somewhere around here later, and so
Yeah,
that people
like over
have a
here.
visual idea, of what you're talking about, what you're referring to. But it looks super realistic. Actually, the very first time I remember I watched the video, and only later I realized I was watching this 3D model. I wasn't looking at an actual, like a video of, I think it was a building or a city area, something like that.
Yeah.
So it was super realistic.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of our challenge sometimes that, well, when someone doesn't realize it's a 3D model and they believe it's a drone video, that means we did well. We did our job. But then it's also hard sometimes to explain that actually what people see is not a drone footage, but it's really a 3D model that we have recreated from scratch, in which we integrate the architect design directly into the existing environment. And sometimes we also remove existing buildings. And that means people can also put VR headsets and walk around the model.
You said earlier that there are two types of startups. The one that they have the problem and then they want to provide a solution, and then there's the ones that have a technology or a solution and then they're going to look for the problem to solve with it. So,
Mm-hmm.
what exactly is the problem that you're trying to solve, other than the quality of data?
Yeah, that's a good question. And because with this technology, so many different applications. The challenge at the moment is to select one, to deep dive on it, be successful at it, and then prioritize the second and third application, because it will be much faster in this way instead of trying 10 at the same times. So the one that we are trying to tackle at the moment is for urban development, and especially for municipalities and for cities. And if, like, let's say the city of Geneva wants to create a new district project, they will have to go through two key steps. The first one during the planification phase. The first one is to convert the need into an early design. So how many people they want to house, what are the logistics, the transportation and everything. And therefore the architect or urbanist will draw a first few buildings or first few volumes. And then that's like the first moment that they need to vote for it, if they want to go ahead with that project or if it doesn't make sense. And if they agree to go ahead, then the architecture development will go further. There will be a lot of money spent. And then the second step is, when the design is finalized, is to share it with the local community and to vote also to get the project approved or not. And for those two key steps, they rely on the first step, either like on sketches or polygons, screenshots that you overlay on top of Google Maps, or sometimes sketches that are very nicely done, but it's lacking the kind of context. Where does it fit the existing environment? And for the second step, they mostly architecture companies, they take a drone video or a drone image, and then they paste their image, the feature design, on top of that 2D image. And when there is a need for like to really showcase what a future project will look like, to get people involved, and to have a constructive discussion sometimes we have participatory approach. So we ask local inhabitants to actually share their thoughts about how the volume should be, and so on. And therefore we provide the most immersive and complete experience to that regard. So that's the first project, the first market that we try to tackle, which is still evolving. And so, for example, when we do an entire municipality or city scale project, there's a lot of value to the municipality to share videos or a 3D interactive model of what a future project will look like, but also to architects, to urbanists, to civil engineers. Mm-hmm. And we can provide different file formats to that regard. For example, we just did an entire municipality again here in Lausanne, and actually that was for an urbanist company, and they will be taking care of making the participatory program with the inhabitants, share some videos, share some different design options of a future project. So yeah.
Wow, that sounds super exciting.
Yeah.
But I can imagine, especially as a first-time founder, as a first-time startup. I don't know if there's a second-time startup, but like let's say a young startup, it must be really difficult to establish yourself in this market, and so that the municipalities, for instance, that they are aware of you and that you exist and what you offer. That must be super difficult, I can imagine.
Yeah. And I think what's even more difficult is to sell, is to understand the problem of your clients and to fit a solution that answer those problems that they are having. I remember the very first time I was trying to sell a project was a topographic survey. That was my kind of background. And the person only wanted a nice looking 3D model. So I was completely off. I even sent the offer and and then realized that it's not what they wanted. but now it became actually our biggest clients. But it's really interesting to kind of like open your ears, not sell your product. People don't care about what you sell; they care about how you can make their life easier, simpler. So yeah, I wish there was more sales classes here in Switzerland, EPFL, and in Europe in general. We're
So,
lacking that kind of US
mhm.
sales mindset.
Well, that could be interesting. Maybe that's the next business opportunity to set up these types of classes. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah,
But
that could be interesting. I would be
um,
happy to help people, but there is also a good guy called Manuel Hartman, and they created a kind of coaching program called the
mhm.
Sales Playbook, and we are learning a lot. Thanks to him, I was making video sales, and the three biggest projects was that I sold was through videos that I sent
Wow.
to the clients and without ever meeting them in person, and sometimes I never saw them actually.
Oh wow. Well, that's
Yeah,
amazing though. If these tips have helped you so much that you really landed projects because of that. That's
yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
Nice. And are you also in contact with other people from the startup ecosystem in Switzerland so that you can help each other out or something like that?
Yeah, there is like one ecosystem that is quite known. It's called Venture Kick. It's like an accelerating program, or no, a fundraising program with three key steps. The first one you get 10K. The second stage you get 40,000, and the third step you get 100,000. And we didn't succeed the third one. I wanted also to share the downs because in a startup life we always share the positive but never the negatives. And one of my
That's
objectives
true.
is to share, yeah, the um, to promote entrepreneurship around me. But yeah, so through that program there is a lot of like startups that gets to know each other's. There is also another program called Venture Lab where they organize tons of like different sessions about how to pitch, how to fundraise, and so on. And there is also the Drone Association, Drone Industry Association, DIAS. And yeah, we have a few like meetings, but I think I would like to have a more diverse background and like regular meetings with founders. And I think that's what we're actually discussing with Venture Lab too. It has to come from founders to organize those kind of events. And I think we would all love to share the bit of not struggle, but excitement along the
Yeah, for
path. What
sure.
went well, what doesn't go well.
Yeah, for sure. I'm open
Yeah.
to that all the time.
Yes.
But speaking of sharing like the whole thing, so you said yourself, a lot of founders focus on the good stuff, but then there's also so much not so good stuff that can be shared. And because it's
Mm-hmm.
great learning opportunities for everyone. And also, like if you experience something not so good happening yourself or full on failure with something that you're trying, it's really reassuring, at least that's what I think, to see that other people are having the same difficulties. It's not you, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's not you. You're not the problem in the situation. It's very common to experience something like that.
Yeah.
So during this past year, except for selling experiences, what were some other difficulties that you were facing in the process?
Mm, I think it's the maybe the struggle of a lot of people, but how to prioritize. Um, because you can easily like if I don't want to check my emails, but we can check your emails, see all of the emails, and then answer all of them, and you will feel that you had a productive day. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not the best, in my opinion, way to be proactive or productive. But it's about how do you set your goals for the company on medium and short terms scale, and then how do you act on them. So yeah, that's that. And then also hiring people. We, as a founder, sometimes you want to hire people to delegate the stuff that doesn't work well, but there is no magic wand. So there will
Finding
be,
the people is so difficult and a huge task in itself,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And yeah, for the hiring process, for example, for the recent application that we had more than 80 applicants. And how do
Wow.
you go through all of that, set up the meetings in a constructive way, and then invite other people to have also their views on the applicants. And then when you hire the person, is about the also the teaching them the learning curve. So it's almost asking you twice as much work, but at the same time you shouldn't wait too late to do that, otherwise it will, yeah, be even harder. So it's a tough balance to know when you can start hiring people, uh, and delegate early enough to not burn out and have too many things happening.
No, for sure. It sounds like basically you would need to hire someone and delegate hiring to hire other people. It's kind of a
Yeah,
vicious circle.
that's a good question. That would be, at which point do you hire a people manager or a HR person? But yeah, at first it's also always a step by step. At first you lead yourself, then when you can get advice or like an external HR company that helps you, and then when the company is bigger and there is a clear need to have that person 100% of the time, that's when you hire. But I think it's underestimated how much value that HR person could bring, because for me the single most important thing about a startups are the people, and how do you attract the right people with the right mindset that kind of shares the vision and are happy to work. um, that's like the what will make a startup successful or not, in my opinion.
That's definitely a super important part of it. The people make or break the startup in some cases. If you have a
Yeah.
great culture where people work together and they stick together loyally,
Hmm.
that can make a huge impact for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and how do you keep them loyal? How do you also care about your employees? How do you make sure that they are, well, they're happy in what they do, they're also happy outside? Where do you cut the limit? um, yeah,
How
it's a
many
lot of work.
people? How many people do you have right now with you in your team?
So including me, there is the fifth person is joining as we speak.
Wow. I think five, I'm not an expert, but to me, hiring five people within a year seems like a lot. Like, I don't know, like a big step already, if you can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it was kind of very specific role. For example, the first intern recently joined as a full-time person, and he's already doing what I was doing, but much better. Uh, so that's amazing. And then for we also have a 3D artist, Emily, and here it was interesting because basically in Switzerland we don't have a school that is tailored to the kind of 3D visual that we want to make. And I was lucky enough to find on LinkedIn that school and a teacher who is actually promoting every student to help them find internship. So that was really cool. And then the last person is Esham, who joined about a month ago. And yeah, that was that 80 applicant process. And it's interesting how much it's like when you move into a new flat and looking for a flatmate or stuff like that, you will always kind of meet the person. But it's very, very tough to know how you will collaborate, like in the long term, or how you will feel. And so luckily, it's been going amazing since the start. But yeah, how do you to get people comfortable so they can fully open themselves, and you learn more about like their personal objectives and so on?
No, for sure. I think hiring, I haven't hired anybody, but
Not
I
yet.
can imagine, or let's say I kind of observed the hiring process in one of the companies that I was working with in the past. And I think, I don't know, on the one hand, hiring is a very structured process for a startup, but on the other hand, it's also really unstructured and really vague and abstract. And I don't know.
Yeah.
But I really keep my fingers crossed for you that everything will continue with your employees well, and
Yeah.
that the collaboration will be great.
Yeah, and I've been lucky also through the venture capital fund. I had to hire the next intern, so I was basically in the shoes of the hiring person. And also in the previous startup in London, there there was one guy that came to organize the entire like HR process, and actually he was involving people of the company to join one of the four like interview for the like the entire interview process. And this was also very interesting to know like how that was structured, and yeah, and then
Actually,
managing
I
a
think
team.
I
Yeah.
think that's something very remarkable about you because how long did you say you were with that startup beforehand?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. So I mean, you've been there for quite some time, but still,
Hmm.
you already felt confident after that point to try something yourself and to build your own company. I think
Yeah.
that's remarkable because there are so many people. There is two different types of people. There's the people that hesitate forever because they're
Hmm.
afraid, they're scared, they're doubting themselves, they're doubting their idea, or maybe personal circumstances. They're not sure how maybe with family commitments or anything else that's happening in their lives they might be able to do it. And then there's the
Yeah.
other extreme people, I don't know, even before they finish university, they were like, screw it, let's
Yeah.
go and let's do it, build that
Yeah.
company. I mean, that's very extreme examples, but how did that experience at that startup prepare you to feel confident this is the right moment to get started?
um I think it would almost be a crime not creating a company after the experience that I had, because basically first the master degree was management, technology, and entrepreneurship. Then the working at a venture capital fund, really understanding what makes a company successful, how do you make it scalable, what are the kind of metrics that are important, and then having that hands-on experience for 2.5 years, like made me have the like the an amazing background to start a company. And I would say that people, if they have an idea, they should go for it directly. Um, like for example, even before starting uni, I wanted to create a kind of Wikipedia for the university, for the class, so that people could share notes. Well, the idea was that you have a 14 lesson of one like geology class. So for example, I do the first resume of the first lesson, you do the second resume of the second lesson. And if you
Mm-hmm.
have 14 people, then you do one summary of a class and you receive the entire summary of the entire class um, as a gift
Mm-hmm.
after, and then that could grow like in a similar way to Wikipedia, and it was amazing. Even before starting university, I was in a meeting with a lot of different directors of the section. Then I was pitching in front of 500 people, saying, "Hey guys, you need to do summaries so that other people will receive it."
Oh,
So
wow. That's
it
huge.
was also an interesting experience. But when you have like small ideas, or even like an objective in sports, like running a marathon, or yeah, as you say, there are the people that like have those ideas but never act on it or procrastinate. But I think we have one life, so it's fun to try them. And even if you fail, and for example, I did a boxing fight, an amateur boxing fight, and I lost, but it was like one of the best experience I had, to like the entire learning process, the training, both mentally and physically, the diet, and see how far you can bring your body to. It's really interesting. So yeah, if if some people are listening to me at the moment, listening to this podcast, if you have that small idea that you wanted to do, I recommend to do it now, right now. Drop everything,
Let's go.
and one way
Finish the
also to
podcast first.
yes, and one way to do it is also telling people around you, and as if it's something that you will plan, that you already made up your mind, that's something that will happen, and like just sharing it will make you more and more confident about you doing it. You will hear a lot of people say, I'm not sure that's a very good idea. I don't think there is a market. So at the beginning, it was when I assessed the drone market in Switzerland, people started telling me it's overcrowded. There's not a lot of opportunity. And on the opposite side, I had other people saying, we can invest how much money you want, but we have like 50% of the equity.
Oh no.
But by like talking, then you can craft you can better design the idea, because it will probably change along the way from the market response from the clients and everything.
How do you feel about the prospect of failure? Is that something that scares you, or that humbles you, that intimidates you, that motivates you? How do you feel about potential failure?
um, I think I don't think of failure. I like taking risks, and if I fail, it's not a problem. It's actually even better, because it's through the failures that you learn the most. I think it's very healthy for a company to take risk and to fail, and to also it's important to learn from the failure. So to take that little moment after the failure, okay, so what happened? What did wrong? Could we improve something? Um, and everything. So, for example, one of the failure was losing a project to to do a 3D model of an entire country,
An entire
and
country.
yeah, using planes. So
Wow.
that would be kind of similar to the Google Earth level, but yeah. So, and we just missed the project. The competitor were slightly better. But through that, we've learned a lot. We know that we can process an entire country and make a 3D model. We have designed our own big data and cloud processing architecture and so on. So that was really cool. And with Hesham, the new sales guy, we are trying to apply all of these learnings to new prospects that we go to.
That must have been so disappointing, though, that moment where you're like,
Yeah.
yes. Like, especially
Yeah,
if you put so much work and effort into preparing something.
yeah, yeah. That's really a roller coaster. Sometimes, especially at the beginning, you close the first two deals. You are like, yay, that's amazing. And then for 1 month, you don't sign anything. So you're like, was it really a good idea? That whole startup idea? And then you close another one. And but yeah, it's like resiliency and perseverance and determination are really important to like have that like long-term vision, and there will be so many obstacles, but you need to keep focus on the vision, and then you will reach it easily. But yeah, the failure for me are very important.
To me, it
It's
sounds
funnier.
like you naturally have these character traits: resilience, long-term vision, being confident in yourself, even if things don't go perfectly 100% of the time. Is that impression correct, or is that something that you've learned over time, or you are still learning?
Yeah, I think how my friend and my mom would describe me is that when I have an idea in my head, I don't like I will do everything to make it happen, and there's nothing that can stop me. And yeah, I think that's interesting trait. But everyone can learn it also along the way.
I think that's the perfect foundation then to be an entrepreneur, because those are definitely very important character traits, at least from my perspective and what I've observed so far when I was talking to different founders or business owners in general. Like all of them, they have this not necessarily innate, but definitely a strong sense of confidence in their abilities. Even if things don't go as planned, they don't, yeah, how do you say? They don't take that as a sign of, okay, I shouldn't be doing this. I should be getting a job. I should be, not be an entrepreneur. They take it as a sign of, okay, this didn't work. Let's learn from it and let's move forward with better knowledge, better experiences, and we can do it differently in the future.
Yeah, and I think that also comes with practice, and I think every single one can be an entrepreneur, and there are a lot of different style of entrepreneurship. And I think two different companies can have a very different style, but both can grow very well. And I say that also because for me, when I was a kid, I was very shy, and I also had problem speaking. How do in French we call it bégayer. So it's
I
when
have no
you
idea.
try to say a word and it doesn't want to come. So you try, and then you take a deep breath, and then you finally say it. So I was watching someone to help me to go through that, and now I don't think I have it again. But now, yeah, now I'm pitching in front of 500 people, investors, and it's and yeah, just by sharing your idea, talking about it, you also become more confident about
Mm-hmm.
your idea and and sharing it with other person.
I actually have the same feeling. Like I'm super nervous, and it doesn't matter how many times I've told somebody, I don't know, about my podcast, about Walking the Talk in general, what I'm doing. But then some talks, I'm still get extremely nervous, even though I
Yeah,
enjoy doing it. I don't know. It's weird. It changes.
yeah. Am I making you nervous? I'm joking.
No, we're doing okay today, I think.
Yes.
All good. But what's your vision for Uzufly for the future? Like in your dream for Uzufly, where do you see this company in the future? Of course,
Hmm.
world domination, but maybe there's other things that you have in mind.
Yeah. So world domination, you named it. Um, the idea would be a kind of professional version of Google Earth, where like everyone can visualize like Google Earth, but in a much more level of details, and could view future projects and so on. And then also like companies like civil engineers, architects, they could crop a specific area and have the right file format directly in their own software, so they can start working on a future project. And I think so. Yeah. So basically, it's trying to do what we do with municipalities. We started with like district, now municipalities, now to do it at a city scale level. But there is a lot of like learning. The market is not ready yet, but it's something that we are educating the client with. Um, and yeah, and then that will be a lot of processing. So maybe like having a lot of either drone providers, drone service providers, or helicopter company, plane companies, where we collaborate with, and yeah,
Nice.
and
Big
have that kind of global footprint. But also for every country, it's quite different. For example, from London to Switzerland, it was very different. So I had to create that kind of 3D visuals that I had no experience before. And I think for every new country that you go into, there will be like some learnings that you need to get, and working with people that live in those countries will be a key part of this as well.
Mm-hmm. Wow, you have so many big plans for your company. That's amazing.
Yeah,
I
step by
definitely
step.
keep my fingers crossed that everything works out nicely.
Yeah,
I'm excited
yeah,
to
no, it's
follow your journey.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. No, and yeah, it's been very doing pretty well so far. So it's been 1 year. We are now a team of 5, so now we can handle much more projects, and at every time we have a bigger project. So I'm crossing my fingers, but potentially the biggest district project in Switzerland, we might do a 3D model for them, and yeah, and then we will go back to that country and uh, and provide that country scale 3D model. But that was fun to receive an email. Can you make an offer for the country? Challenge
You
accepted.
should frame it and put it on your wall for future
Yeah,
for future references.
yeah, exactly.
Best of Uzufly.
Yeah. Well, I
Nice.
will do it when we sign the contract.
Do it for
Yeah.
sure. Nice. I think this is a super nice way to finish, more or less, because we kind of finished where we started with Yusuflai's birthday. So your company just turned 1. You're on a super interesting development, I think, and so many different learnings and so much to share. When it
Hmm.
comes to that already, thank you so much for sharing everything today with me. I have one final question for you. Do you have any piece of advice or something else that you would like to pass on to other founders, startups, something you would like to share with them for their journeys?
Mm, yeah, I think it's really the idea of being proactive about your ideas, and just like stop procrastinating. That's easy to say.
Yeah, easier
I'm
said
still
than done.
procrastinating, but yeah, and talk about it to people around you, and by doing so, you will also hear people that will ask you the right question to make you think about, oh, okay, I didn't think about it that way, and that will help shape the idea into a business. And then you will also have the first employee or first co-founders through those kind of discussion. These are the people that will challenge you, and yeah, that ask that ask the right questions, to help shape better the market, where are the needs, and everything. And taking sales class. So yeah, I think basically talking about your idea, to prospect actually would be the most important thing. um, and yeah, I think I will just leave that here. Is start prospecting, start selling as early as possible. Don't wait to have so the first project that I had, when I signed it, the client signed it, I knew it was possible, and I had no idea how to reach that final video that we wanted to make. But then along the way, I met people that could recommend me, and we delivered on time. But that was a fun project, and we just did sign a new one like this recently. And so right now it's a big rush to understand the kind of new technology that we will be using for a new project. But we know, I'm sure I have the right people that can help me, um, give me advice on this kind of project. So yeah,
Nice.
just talk and
That's
walk the
the
talk.
perfect way to summarize it. Talk to
Yeah,
people. I
yeah.
think that's a great piece of advice. If anybody wants to reach out to you, learn more about Userfly, connect in any way, how can they do that?
Yeah, that would be either the website, uzufly.com, or also LinkedIn, either Uzufly or myself. And they can, I'm available to talk about entrepreneurship. I'm always happy to grab a virtual coffee or else.
Nice.
And yeah, we're redesigning the website at the moment. So
Nice.
watch out.
Will do. Thank you so much, Romain. It was a pleasure to have you here in my podcast, my videocast podcast. It's my old problem. I don't know what to call this anymore. Thank you so much for your openness and for sharing so many things. I hope everyone who was watching, listening, enjoyed this episode. And I see you all next time. Bye.